Certainly, it's true. If you have the height, the personality, the experience, the talent to express yourself in a public way effectively, I think the height and the balance of the body, the proportions of unfortunately critical in the credibility, your credibility and how you're going to be heard, paid attention to, and taken seriously. If you're a short man like me, I'm 5'3", short and dumpy, you better do something to compromise for that visual handicap. Speaking in a public way, you gotta get yourself without excuse. It's your life we're talking about here, man. In the best shape you can possibly get into physically. And then some. You gotta get focused, you gotta get serious, you gotta get determined. Because your credibility out there in the environment to be taken seriously, to be paid attention to in a serious way when you talk, to flatten the inherent caricature, stereotype, mockery of your appearance when you first come on the stage of life. And it's showtime out there. Always it's showtime out there. The only time you have an opportunity to be yourself, whatever that is in your retreat. Out there, you got to put a show on for your security, for your safety, for your effectiveness. And you got to be able to, in my opinion, experience the other side totally and completely. You've got to pay strict attention to what's going on in the interaction right now. There are traps, there are pitfalls, there are broken steps that you can fall down on if you don't know how to step right. You must do a self-assessment every single second. If you look like me, I'm a short, small man considered ridiculous looking out there. Right from the start, I have to start with that deficit. I start on the ground. When I come out and talk in a public way, I'm on the ground. I'm down here on the ground. And I've got to, now listen closely to what I'm saying, I've got to get myself up, pull myself off the ground under my own self-supports and self-sufficiency. Why? Because I'm not physically attractive. I have no personality, I have no appearance, I have no magnetic appeal. Now you know what I'm talking about from the showmanship point of view. Don't be willfully ignorant of what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. And I've got to convince my adversary that I'm important, that I'm worth listening to. If I say it, I'm not credible at all. I have no presence. I have no instant likability. I won't do one of those jobbers. And I won't exchange warm fuzzy for warm fuzzy crap. You see? I won't listen to or abide by phony accolades that I hadn't earned. Somebody trying to butter me up, give me a phony accolade. You don't come to me like that. When you talk to me, you're a stranger, you come to me like a man. If I'm talking serious, I expect serious in return. I don't expect to see some smiling jackass smiling back at me out of context or being charming in an affected, highly affected way. This is an offense to a man like me. It's very important that you learn, you train to experience. I can't reiterate it more. That you train, you condition yourself to experience the other side totally and completely. Whether you're talking to a woman, you're talking to a man, you have to size that into. He's sizing you up, you size him up. You get to the chase before he gets there. It's called projective anticipation. Watch him, just like a fighter. Imagine when you get in a social contest, and it is a contest, you're doing battle. Whether you're doing social battle with a woman or a man, whoever it is, it's a battle. Whether you know it or not, it's either covert or overt. Much better if it's overt, but it's a battle. It's a struggle for hegemony. It's a struggle to be given credit, to be listened to in a serious and profound way. You have to know your man. You size him up. You watch the behaviors, the body language, the speech, the proximus. Is this individual trying to be intimidating by his voice, by his presence? You have to handle it. You have to take care of it. You have to know how to establish a rapport, but it's far more complex. Nothing happens without a rapport, that's true, but it's far more complex. Now listen closely to what I'm saying. Then Tony Robbins represents it standing on the shoulders of the great Milt Erickson, using the brains of Erickson. Erickson's the thinker, Tony Robbins the showman. But this method of mirroring and matching to establish a rapport. In other words, I pick up your speech patterns, your behavioral patterns, your quirks, and mirror it back to you. And in doing this, I'm supposed to be able to make you like me. Listen to this. And establish a rapport quickly. This is a gross oversimplification of what I'm talking about right here. We're talking serious business here. If you don't do this, you watch yourself spiral downhill because you won't get the information. You won't be able to network and play the politics of the situation. I think Tony Robbins quits in his presentation where the real work begins. That's my take. I think he relies too much on arena appeal, too much on physical presence, too much on showmanship, gimmick, body language. And the worst thing you can do when you get up on stage, in my opinion, now of course you can say sour grapes are because I'm a small, short man, Tony's a big man. Powerful. He has physical impression up the yin-yang, just coming out. He's a primal force. However, you can go too far with it. You can go too far. Sometimes you go too far. And this is when a man like me sees through your performance. When I see through your performance that you're trying to charm me, you're trying to put on a good stage show to impress me. You're prancing around on a stage like an Inca god, throwing karate punches in the air to try to impress me with your physical power, your physical presence. I say bullshit. And I stop listening to you. I don't take you seriously. Let's put it that way. Now I'm listening. Now I'm listening to you as a joke. Now the next question is, for Tony Robbins, was the performance a good performance? It's a show. I ask myself, was the show credible? Was the show believable? Was the actor credible? Or am I looking at a prima donna up on a stage, in his element, up on that stage? This is a form of narcissism. When I see this, when I sniff it out, I can tell it immediately. Then I listen to you critically. I watch your behaviors. I don't care how big you are, how tough you think you are. I know how to listen. And I start listening for content, not show. Then I start seeing things. I start figuring things out. I take the Marco step back. The Marco step back is when you take yourself out of the situation that you're immersed in. Take yourself out like you were a stranger. Like you're a stranger who's talking to you right now, as if you were a Martian from another planet. And you say to yourself, what's the performance saying? What's the show saying? What's the arena saying? And how much am I paying to see the show? And how much of what I'm hearing is nothing but a formula presentation? This man's been doing this for years and years and years. He's got it down to an art form. And then I ask myself, is what this individual saying? I step back. I paid him $5,000 for the weekend, for the retreat, for the seminar, whatever you want to call it. To hear him tell me everything I already know. Now, why in the hell did I pay some showman, some performer, some incredible marketeer and profiteer so much money to tell me what I already know, but didn't know I knew it? I ask myself a lot of questions that go on and on when I see something like this. But if a man doesn't take me seriously, doesn't respect me as a man when I come in the room when I talk, I pick up the scent of that immediately. You can see it, you can sniff it in the air. And your job is to give him back what he's giving you. An ad hominem argument for an ad hominem argument. A stupid question deserves another stupid question in return. A stupid, ignorant, biased, insulting inquiry deserves another one in return. I take you as seriously as you take me. I give you the respect that you give me. Nothing more. You can only do this if you don't want something from your adversary. You can walk out the door. Now, Mr. Trump's got that right. Always be prepared to walk out the door. Never need your opponent. Walk out the door. You come in with leverage. You come in with maturity. You come in with presence, but most of all, you come in with incredible preparation. You're ready for anything. Anything without excuse. And I do mean anything. And one of the toughest things to do, especially for a man who has my phenotype, continence, presence, physical presence, appearance, is to not let any of that be an excuse for a failure to perform when it counts. You have to live with yourself, my friend. How does him live with himself when him do a thing like that?